I was able to get an Etsy shop to $500 in sales per day within 37 days while putting my kids to sleep. A lot of times people don't realize that there are most important things and there's least important things, things that don't really matter. But sometimes people spend too much time on the things that don't matter and not enough time on the things that really, really move the needle. In this video, I want to talk about 6 things that you need to focus on, and I'm going to prioritize them from most important to least important. Now, not to say that the 6th one is not as important, but I want us to really have an understanding on how to look at a listing and how to really build it that gives us the best result in our Etsy business. So buckle down. This is going to be 6 things that I focus on, and I'm going to go from most to least important, and it is absolutely critical that you understand these if you do want to have success in your Etsy business. Now, if you are new to this channel, my name is Vlad. I've been selling on Etsy for the past 7 years. I have an Etsy shop with over 120,000 sales. Altogether, I probably sold over 200,000 sales on Etsy. I also consult for top sellers who have 7 figures yearly revenue, 7 to even 8 figures. And I also work with small sellers who have maybe sold their first 100 sales and are trying to get to their first 1,000 sales. I'm also a manufacturer for a lot of Etsy shops that want a print-on-demand model. I really get to see Etsy shops in action, and I get to see the strategies that work and strategies that don't. So if you want to follow content that will help you grow your Etsy business, this is the channel you want to follow. So make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification. Now, at the end of the video, if you did like this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up as well. All right, so let's talk about the first one. Now, again, these is not to say that the bottom 6 are not as important. It's just pay more attention on the top. Really invest into those things, okay? The first and the most important one that I think is thumbnail, okay? Let me explain. The most important thing that your listing needs to be able to have, and I said this in my previous videos, is clicks. You need to collect those clicks, or the more clicks that you get, the better your product is going to do on the marketplace. When I create a thumbnail, it is really important that you focus on 3 things. First of all, is make sure that your value proposition is front and center. Make sure that the customers see exactly the kind of value that you bring. 2, make sure that that value is different than from what your competitors are doing. And I've done this with my gift box. By the way, I have this step-by-step with $500 over 30-something days down in the description below. It's completely free. Me just showing you kind of how I did this business. Yeah, so I did, first one is I did, so when I talk about better than your competitors, everybody else were doing vinyl or printing on the boxes. They were flat. And I was taking the approach that, hey, I'm 3D. These letters are really sticking out. There's a bit more volume to it. And so that was my edge. So not only was that my value proposition, but that was also central to me being different than my competitors. And oftentimes your value proposition is going to be, hey, I'm better than my competitors in this way. So that's really important. And the third one, make sure that the value proposition is niched down. It's not broad. It's not trying to target everybody, but it is really niched down. That's really important. So those 3 elements are really important of every listing. Now, also something that is important is putting a label. Now, this kind of is controversial, or there's a debate to it, but putting in stickers that says ships within 24 hours. Those are really important. Or if you're gonna offer an engraving, make sure you have an arrow that says, hey, this is free engraving. And that kind of tells the customer, oh, perfect, I'm not gonna get charged extra for the engraving. So all of these things do actually help with your sales. So this is really important. If you get your thumbnail just right, that you have a clear value proposition, it is better than your competitors, and it is unique than your competitors, and then that's going to be absolutely important for your thumbnail to be clickable, because it stands out. It makes customers want to click on it because the value really draws them in. And it's a no-brainer. All right, so the second one is title. Title is the second one to that, and I would say that these are really closely together. Because with title, it's not necessarily what your style of title writing, whether you target more humans or you target more algorithm. Title is all about your game plan. When you create a product, when you want to sell a product, hypothetically, when I sold the boxes, right? I didn't just make a generic box that says text here. And just targeting as many people that need boxes for birthday, for kids' birthdays, for weddings. No, I chose a specific direction. I said, I'm going to focus not only even on wedding, I'm going to focus on bridesmaids, gift box, not even groomsmen gift, even though I include that in the tags, but I said bridesmaids gift box. That's going to be my direction with this product. I was very specific about what my game plan is going to be. And then I've written that out in the title. And so what the title was essentially is my game plan written out, and I'm going to introduce it to the algorithm, said, hey, execute this game plan. Now, it also obviously has to relate to the customers when they're looking for bridesmaids gift box. They see that it's written, oh, this is specifically for that. Perfect. This is what I want. Title is a game plan written out in a short format about what you're going to do with your product. Again, this is really important that you don't just start targeting everybody, that you really choose your battle. And doing product and keyword research is so important. And then utilizing those keywords that you found that really formatted your box or formatted your product that you're going to now execute, that's going to be absolutely critical. All right, and the third one is price. Okay, so this is kind of where I start to say, okay, this is not as important as the first two that we just talked about. However, price is still really important because it plays a role in the click-through rate. So, however, price does not mean the cheaper the better. No, price means find the price point that works for your customers, because sometimes going too cheap might actually reduce your sales. So understanding what price point really helps to give the best clicks is really critical. And then lining up everything around it, whether you're producing your own product. I produce my own product, and it's really important for me to find that price point and see, hey, can we be profitable with this price point? Oftentimes, the price point might be, it's okay to have a sale in the beginning stages of your listing or even your Etsy shop, and then maybe even be less profitable or even break even for a little bit until you get the volume, until you get the growth. So price is going to be very important, but again, it's third after thumbnail and title. All right, number 4 is the rest of the photos. So when I'm putting together a listing, not only am I thinking about strategy, am I thinking about getting those clicks, but I'm also thinking about once the customer is in my listing, I want to think about conversion rate. Now, a lot of times people think that conversion rate is in the description that you write. By the way, description is not even on this list. It is about communicating to the customer within your photo and video section. Tell everything that you need to know, or everything that your customers need to know within the photos. They don't need to think. Don't make your customers think. Don't make them connect the dots. No, if there's a dots that need to be connected that are important for the customer, make sure that you show that and that they don't even have to think. And the more time they spend thinking, the less time they spend buying your product. And here's another point. It's not always about let's just trick our customers or make it as quick and easy for them to buy it. No, you have to get them excited to buy your product. You have to elevate the excitability. It's really important that the festivity of the customer is elevated as they are looking through the photos and the video. That's why videos are so important, by the way, is did you get your customers excited about this theme, about this color, or about this pattern, or about this if you are doing a Christmas theme, or if you're doing some kind of other holiday theme. This is why it's important that if you are going to be focusing on a holiday theme, that the whole listing itself is very holistic on the holiday theme, because you want to elevate that excitement for this design or for this kind of product. So elevating the excitability of a customer is critical for the conversion rate. Now, when you get the customers excited, they do a lot more things. They will favor it, they will like it, they will buy it, and then when they get it, if the product is good, they're going to leave a review. So getting your customers excited is going to really benefit your algorithm, and because they're going to do some behaviors that are really good for your listing that will then continue to rank your product. And if there's enough customers being really excited about your product, well, that's going to be really reflected in what they do on your listing, in clicks and views and looking through, watching that video again, sharing it, copying the link, all of that stuff they're going to do if they're really excited about your product. So you really need to create that excitability throughout your photos. So that's going to be very important. All right, the next one, and this is also important, but again, not as important, okay, is our tags. The reason why I kind of put it towards the end, there was a listing that did really well for me. I believe my wife posted this listing, and I kind of tweaked around with it a little bit, improving the thumbnails, improving the listing photos, and it did really well. Only until like a year later, after this listing generated us tens of thousands of dollars, I realized that listing had 0 tags. It had no tags at all. And that's when I realized that algorithm can technically figure out what your product is. However, when you create tags, it really allows you to guide the algorithm in where to look for your customers. Because a lot of times when the algorithm has to deal with your product, you have to realize that it's dealing with millions of products, hundreds of millions of types of products, and those products have, hundreds of words that it could test out, sometimes even thousands. When you think about the variations of this keyword with this keyword, for example, if you're selling stocking tags, well, you're not selling a stocking, or you're not selling a dog tag, you're doing a stocking tag. And so that just putting those two words together means it's not a stocking and it's not just a tag, it's a stocking tag. And so when you have so many listings, so many millions of keywords, it's really difficult to really know where to start for the algorithm. And when you create tags, you tell the algorithm, hey, look in these areas, and it's going to start testing those out, and really you'll guide the direction of the algorithm. However, it is really important to understand that the algorithm over time will find the ideal customers that you might have not been aware of, that you might have not included in your tags, and sometimes it might be more important to sell to those customers. For example, I sold banners, and initially I put custom banners. It was out of fabric, and I didn't really think to sell them to kids or kids' rooms, decoration for kids or for newborns. And a lot of moms wanted to put a name of a kid over their crib out of fabric banner. And so I only discovered that when I was running ads, and I was looking at my keywords, and I found out children room banner, and that's when I discovered that keyword. But the algorithm found that for me first. That's why it's kind of on the bottom, because sometimes your best selling keywords are not even something that you are putting into tags. However, you do give the algorithm more of a directional approach on what you're going to do, kind of the execute the plan. It's kind of the extension of your plan that you've written out in your title is now carrying over to the tags. So that's I would say is probably out of the 5, probably the least important, but important nonetheless. All right, and the last one, and this kind of has a little bit to do a little bit outside the listing. It's kind of like really tethering your listing to a little bit outside the listing, and that is the health of your stats or customer service stats. This is where shipping on time, customer service or messaging, and your reviews. And the link is the reviews. If you've communicated to your customers pretty clearly about where your product is, and that's the product they're going to receive, and they're going to be happy with it, means you've done your job or communication within the listing of what your customer is going to receive. If they received the wrong product or something about the product wasn't there, they thought it was going to be one thing, but now it's a different thing, that's a listing problem in the beginning, right? You need to really solve that. But it also ties to the rest of that, meaning make sure that your customer service is good and you're shipping out on time. Now I was suspended for about 7 to 8 months. Again, if you don't know the story, it was a glitch, and I finally got my Etsy shop back. But even what I realized is before I got suspended, Etsy was completely different than what it is after. Because once I got my shop back, I realized visibility is actually impacted if you don't do these 3 things. Like it actually does make it worse for you if you don't focus on the health of your Etsy shop. And I found that when I was getting my shop back up and I was opening it, I realized that me focusing on making sure that it's on time, making sure I message, and making sure that customers are getting exactly what they want has become even more important for the Etsy algorithm. So I've been really, really honing in on that side of Etsy. So, but it links with the listing. Make sure that your listing is really clear about what your customers are going to receive, so that when they do receive it, they have a good customer experience, and it's going to improve your credibility with the Etsy marketplace. So that's going to be really important. But again, let's go back to the very top, and this is really important. Now, again, the most important is thumbnail and title. You see, these are probably the most important. Focus on that. But then once you got those clicks, you need to convert your customer by giving them a great experience, increase their excitability for your for that product that you're selling, so that they convert your customer and start behaving in ways that is really good for your ranking, for your algorithm, all that good stuff. Now, all of this only matters if you are selling the right stuff. If you're not selling the right things, you are not going to be successful, no matter how much or how hard you work. Now, they're a seller that I've been working with that went from hundreds of dollars per week to thousands of dollars per week in sales. So, and that's because I've been talking about the formula that they need to pay attention to sell the right product. So check out this video. That's where I break down what you need to pay attention to when you're thinking about product and how to sell the right product and what the wrong product looks like and how to stay away from those products and only pay attention to the right products that will then really save you time and money when you're advertising because you're selling the right stuff. So until next time, you guys have a great one.